Welcome to the World Series of Board Gaming. My name is Chris George.
And I'm Zachary Groombridge.
And we are here to take a look at the ring final for Carcassonne that was played live. We're here live, so it might as well be live. And we're going to find out who takes home the ring and becomes the World Series of Board Gaming 2022 Carcassonne champion. And this is might be the only time there is a World Series Carcassonne champion, Zach, because Carcassonne is not going to be in the game selection, the 16 games for next year.
That's such a shame. Carcassonne is such a tight, simple, competitive game. I think lots of people got their start in board gaming, probably playing games like Carcassonne.
Yeah, for me it was Catan, and then Carcassonne was my second game probably that I really was sunk my teeth into and thought, wow, this is what board games can be?
Well, for all you new board gamers out there, perhaps, you'll be able to see what high-level Carcassonne is in just a moment.
That's true, and we've taken a brief look at the game so far, and it is the speediest game of Carcassonne that I have ever seen.
We had a little bit of a false start on the recording.
Because we are here in the studio, we're going to be recording in a top-down version so that you get a bit of a better quality version of the Carcassonne game. The cameras was a little bit overexposed, and so just to make sure that you get a front seat view at all the action, we have painstakingly recreated it, and we'll be recreating that as the game goes on.
Emphasis on the pain.
But we might as well turn the table and introduce our competitors and get right into the game. Zach, let's do it.
All right. So here we see the players getting set up. Let's introduce the players. So we can see on our top picture-in-picture there,
Yep.
on the left-hand side, we have Rebecca. She'll be playing the blue in this game.
That's right. And then in seat 2, right beside her, playing black, we have Mike.
In our on the left side of that camera, and on the right side of that camera, on the left side of the camera just below it, we have Matt, who will be playing red.
And then fourth position is Ryan, and Ryan was also in the Azul final. If you haven't watched that one live, Ryan made that final table.
And the last player with the one who is just being passed some tokens just now, that's Johannes, and he'll be playing green.
And what's interesting about this is that you can hear the judge saying we've counted 70 tiles exactly. In order for everyone to have an equal turn, as Matt is just saying, there'll be 70 tiles. There are 72 tiles total in Carcassonne, which means only 70 tiles. And in a 5-player game, that means only 15 moves to capitalize on as many points as you can. And that is not a lot of moves, Zach.
Very tight action space, Chris. Every single tile will have to count. Every tile will have to move you closer to victory because you don't have the many tiles to make a mistake.
And you have 7 meeples to work with, and so I think we'll see meeples being placed fast and furiously as we may not see in another game.
And speak of the devil, we have the first tile coming out. That's Rebecca. She's just deciding the orientation of her tile.
I know, it's perpendicular to me is like this, but we'd rather have it like this, so it's perpendicular.
Right,
And she will be placing
I guess we'll just go with that.
that is a city, Chris.
her blue meeple on the city.
Yeah. So
And that makes sense because cities are worth 2 points per tile when they're completed versus 1 point per road tile.
cities are very valuable, but if they are not completed, they can be a big detriment. They can tie up your meeples and deny you a lot of points. Here we have the black player, that's Mike. He's agreeing with the city play here. He's starting his own city on the other side.
He's certainly not going to close Rebecca's for her, so that makes sense for Mike.
That's true. Players do have the option to sort of help each other finish their cities. Red player also likes the city play. It's a very aggressive city, though. Looks like he's going to try to probably connect that with Mike's.
I would worry about placing this as a city just with the road coming off of that starting tile.
Here we have
The monastery.
a monastery.
It's a tough choice.
I think that's probably a pretty safe place for a monastery.
It's currently the only place because there's only green on that tile.
It's true.
And we see the road being placed now by green, representing everybody's first initial moves.
We get a moment to breathe here. Players are playing quite quickly.
They are, and as we say that, Rebecca comes out swinging with another portion of her castle, and she lays down a farmer in that field. The little field that she hopes will become a big field later on in the game.
And other players might not agree with her. They might not place a field there. And it might suck up her turns in order to make that field worth anything in the end.
And we see Black now playing on the road that they just played, probably trying to build into something else. Maybe you could connect with Green's road down the line and you could share the points. And that's something that I think is an interesting play. We see two monasteries now side by side. Red getting in on that monastery game. This is sort of an interesting thing in a 5-player game. You may want that cooperation because you only have so few turns. It kind of makes sense to cooperate and build in on a big city with other people.
If you burn too many of your 15 tile placements, simply finishing a road, you could lose out in the long term. And so it does make sense to work with others here.
And we see a placement. It doesn't look like they're going to be placing on that tile.
Just we have no real large fields being claimed yet by players, which is a bit surprising. Fields tend to win games of Carcassonne. Yeah, that looks like a city being built by Johannes here in green.
And this is a big play by Rebecca.
Oh, yeah.
Managing to chokehold that city and get in on the road. That feels really big.
Yeah, that is huge, Chris, because if she is able to finish this city all by herself, she'll be up on the board with a lot of points, and no one else is in that city with her.
And we see connecting into that Black road and extending it. And then Black takes that opportunity to both give himself more points on a road and lay a person down in the field.
Yeah, I like these plays coming out from Mike here. But not as much as I like the plays coming from Rebecca. It seems like she really knows what she's chasing after.
And Red coming in to try to join up with that city. Again, we're seeing that potential collaboration happening.
Very interesting. It's a double-edged sword.
I'm interested to see if people will collaborate. I think that's the key to victory in a 5-player Carcassonne. It has to be. It's that economy of actions. And we see Yellow getting in on the party.
Ooh, yes, this city is starting to get large.
And if these 3 players can work together and create this city and finish it, that's game over for the 2 who are not in it, which is currently Rebecca and Mike.
Yeah. That said, there is a little bit of risk there. I think Rebecca and Mike have their own things set up on the board that don't require other people to finish them.
I think that's it. And depending upon other players too heavily can come back to bite you, and it's better if you can just get your own points.
Mm-hmm. I know from my past games of Carcassonne, finishing those diagonal castles can be a hassle. We have a little indecision here.
We see Johannes deciding what to do with his tile.
He's committing there.
And he chooses to give Mike 6 points.
Yeah, ending Mike's road. You'll let him score it and pick up his meeple.
Rather than collaborating with Mike, he chooses to give him 6 points, but he wants in on that field. Maybe he sees the future. Maybe he sees Rebecca wanting to complete that castle, and the little castle is happening on this side of the board.
Fields are a large commitment in Carcassonne because you will not be picking up those meeples. Am I correct, Chris?
Yeah, that's true. Once it's down in a field, it's there. And we see Rebecca complete her castle and scoring herself 8 points, soaring into the lead.
That's sweet.
Now starting to see a little bit of a slowdown, but still very quick placements. We see Mike claim that other monastery, helping out Rebecca's field, but giving himself a potential 9 points in the process if he can finish that monastery.
And now Johannes and Rebecca are sharing that field there.
It's good that he got in it when he did. We might see a play. Oh, but Rebecca did lay down someone in the field when she completed her castle. So if she's able to connect those two, Johannes's placement will be worth nothing, and Rebecca will take all the glory.
That could be very big.
Currently over to Matt, player 3 in red, deciding where to place. Now we might start to see people slowing down a little bit. But it's still moving fairly quickly as Matt drops another tile, adding to his own castle.
It's very bold to be playing this quickly in a game, especially with the amount of money on the line, the prestige, access to the final tournament or final championship. With only 15 tiles to play, you would think these players would consider their actions a little bit longer. But here we have another piece of the castle coming in.
And green and yellow are now in business together. It now remains to be seen if red can get in on that as well. I'm very surprised with Matt's previous placement, why he didn't put that piece onto the road section. I worry that Matt's castle there won't get to be completed, that he's building at the bottom here. And now we see green maybe making a play to get in and retain control of the giant city if he's able to build in. That feels like a pretty greedy play, but if it plays off...
There was a ton of greed here. I really don't like this play. With only, again, 15 tile placements, fighting over maybes feels like such a risk.
Yeah, when you could just take those points and work together with the other two players, then you're guaranteed to be fighting for first, second, and third. But it might turn out that Mike and Rebecca are making the right call by just staying out of this altogether.
I mean, Mike and Rebecca are the only ones who are sitting on the board with any points. That's a road completed, I believe.
And just a quick adjustment in the studio. This here was a crossroads, which was misplayed in our recreation. But you'll see that is why blue and green are currently going to score 5 points each, completing this specific road. Let's go back to the action.
See Mike here, deliberating.
Mike choosing to complete this city, a quick small point, and to claim the other one.
Very good play, I think. We're seeing a very different strategy from Mike and Rebecca than we are from Matt, Ryan, and Johannes. Mike and Rebecca just claiming what points they can in small little increments.
That also scored the yellow points.
Oh, and that completed the monastery. They're pointing
That did.
Monastery is, of course, scoring when they are completely surrounded by tiles. So playing monasteries early into the spread can be quite valuable. You're almost guaranteed that they will be surrounded. So I'm looking at that red monastery on the left. It might foul up this quite large castle here.
Yes, it's the best. Four for red.
Up at the top there, I believe that's a
A quick city for red.
quick city for red.
placed on and off, scoring red 4 points.
That's going to be the first points on the board for red.
And you can see in the top right corner, the scorekeeper's phone is kind of framed there, and that should show you a running tally of the score
I hadn't noticed that, Chris. Thank you.
for all of our viewers at home.
Extending a road.
And we see another decision to claim a field up top there.
It's such a spread out bit of field.
I think that's might be one of the better places to put a field right now. And we see green making that play to get in on that big city. Again, that greedy green play and laying down in a field.
This might be a greedy green play. This might also be an attempt to sabotage the other players trying to build that city. He has just forced them to place a very limited number of tiles there.
And this road coming in and Rebecca claiming that road.
It's a little bit of a risky play because she knows that at least 3 of the other players are going to be placing mainly around that city in the top left. She's hoping she'll be able to make something out of that road in the bottom right. It'll be difficult to bring any other players to help go in on that with her. That looks like a road extending.
Just a nice calm road, placing the meeple down and removing it in order to score that that road. Mike feels like he's in a really good spot right now.
He's just picking up these little tiny bursts of points.
And that's what you got to do. But it remains if it's the little point investment that will pay off, or if it will be these larger, big city investments like what Green is trying to take from everyone.
You have to think the other players of this board are watching Mike grab these little bits of points. They know what kind of pressure they're under. They must want to finish and grab the points that they've been building towards here. The players, of course, only drawing 1 tile at a time. They have to place them perfectly, and they're not guaranteed to get exactly what they want.
That's the thing too, especially with this, with a larger player count. In a smaller player count, you can kind of play the probabilities and say, okay, I know there are 4 tiles of this out there. I bet sometime down the line I'll get that perfect tile. But with 5 players, it's a lot harder to anticipate, and so you do have to capitalize on those points as they come.
And if it is Rebecca or Mike grabbing the city tiles, by chance, they could torpedo this large city on the left here.
And we see another field being claimed rather than this small road or castle.
That's a little bit of a strange play from Mike. He could have played that.
Or that was Matt, I believe.
Yes,
red,
you're right.
yeah.
In Matt. Matt could have played that to help finish the large castle up there. But
Well, he doesn't want to put it on the big castle because that's just giving green points.
you're right, because green would be the only winner there.
And this shows what that sort of greedy play will get you, is that now the other 2 players are not going to want to work with you, and you still have a lot of castle left to finish. Over to Ryan now.
What's he gonna do? Oh, he's building around the castle.
Building around the castle, just doing that road, trying to...
That just makes finishing this castle harder and harder. There are fewer
Yeah.
and fewer tiles that'll slot into that spot.
eliminating the options, and that's exactly what Ryan's doing. We can hear, I believe, the Blood Rage final in the background. That was a raucous game,
As Blood Rage always is, Chris.
as Blood Rage always is.
To Valhalla.
Or to Carcassonne, as we say in the old country.
Here we have...
So quick correction, just again in the studio, as these players are playing very quickly, and we're working to recreate. These 2 tiles were swapped, and so rather than claim this road or any portion of it, that's why Red decided to go here. And then now we have this city trying to build in, maybe to make another giant city. Johannes wanting to be the giant city king, not caring that he already has a giant city that he's working on. And this shows the great play as well by yellow over here, Ryan, because Johannes would have been able to play that tile, and he would have been able to connect that, and that is the exact reason why Ryan played that tile right there to block him out.
This is an incredibly selfish move. I believe about half the turns have already elapsed.
Yeah, there's
not
not
a lot of
left to
time.
play. We'll see how it pans out. Back to the game. I feel Johannes he's way too greedy for the game right now.
Way too greedy, way too confident.
And Rebecca gets a cool monastery that goes in a perfect place for it.
A very good placement. I'm liking all of Rebecca's plays here. Maybe not quite as ambitious as she needs to be to claim victory, but very consistent.
Yeah, I think she's solid. She's moved in, and also this monastery going here. I would have been worried if I was Rebecca with this monastery here in black, but because now the monastery went here, that does open up her city, and she is now currently laying claim to all of the fields. She's gotten her 2 down there, and she's in a really good spot for fields right now.
I agree. 5-player Carcassonne game like this makes me wonder how many games of 5-player Carcassonne these players have really gotten in. As we said at the beginning, Carcassonne is an entry-level game for a lot of gamers, but I think a lot of people play it at a lower player count. Yeah, that looks a double city tile there, Chris.
And Mike claiming one side. We'll see if anyone claims the other side.
If I know anything about Mike, and I think I do this far into the game, I think he's just trying to close that with a single tile.
Just close it real quick. I think that's it.
Into Matt's turn. He already knows where he wants his meeple, but he doesn't know. Let me deposit, Chris.
No, it's great. Just checking here in the studio to make sure that we're framed up.
Just over here, Chris. Yep, there's that field. I believe he's claimed that city.
Because he cannot claim that field because currently someone is. Or he could have. He could have claimed that
He
field,
could have. That's a wide open field and a ton of points.
but preferring again to go for the little strategy.
I'm sorry, though.
He may be hoping to hook that into the mega city here on the left.
I think you wouldn't want to at this point.
I thought of one.
Mega City is a dead cause at this point in the game, I feel.
It's a public works disaster. Here we have some green space appearing above the mega city. Oh no, that's you're right. That is just more mega city.
More Mega City, but not one that will ever connect.
Yeah, or we can hope. That's Ryan Yellow claiming that city.
That makes sense. All you need is one side and the other to complete it.
A very safe play, I think.
You're certainly not going to build off of the Mega City when Green might swoop in. And Ryan doesn't have any other cities going, so hoping to contribute to that field.
Remind me, Chris, what these little shield icons on the cities mean. Those are extra points?
Those are extra points. Another monastery drops down, and Johannes gets it. This might be the only guaranteed points that Johannes can bank on. Yes, every city tile that's laid down that has an extra square symbol on it, shield symbol on it, those will give an extra 2 points. If completed, or 1 point if not.
Becca looking at her options. If I was a betting man, I would say she was going to play in the lower right, try to increase the length of her road, maybe her fields. Don't see a whole lot of reason she would place anywhere else. And yes, there we go. Her road grows longer, and I think ends.
Yep, she completes her road and
Claims the city.
Claim the city, finish the line, 1, 2, 3.
completes
4
it.
points.
4 points for blue, and she throws in a meeple on that city. It feels like the wrong call to put a meeple there, because that's going to be tough to complete. If this was not the speed Carcassonne, I would be able to take the time and count up the tiles and see the amount of tiles that are out there. And it's surprising to me that nobody is taking the time to see what tiles are dead and what tiles are not, because there's only a certain number of tiles in the game. And if you see that number, I'm assuming all of these players know that those numbers and the tile breakdown by heart. And if you see that number, just a nice simple road placement there for black. And he claims the road too. People laying their tiles down. Maybe it's just because you're getting to that point in the game, they feel the turns dwindling and they want to get as many points as they possibly can.
I've really enjoyed all the plays from Mike here. I feel like I can see his reasoning behind every one of them, and most of his turns have resulted in some form of points, which is more than I can say for about half the players of this game here.
Yeah, there's that heavy overcommitment into the big city, and I think we're going to see the greed from Green take down those 3 players when he could have lifted them all up.
Just did some hasty math, Chris. I think we have 21 or 22 more placements before the game is done. That is not a lot divided between 5 players.
That is not a lot. And we see Matt in red, I believe it is Matt's turn still, really now thinking this over. And I think that's the time you got to take.
Yeah, I wish some of these players had taken some of this time earlier in the game.
Matt now extending upon his city, building himself his own little corner. Maybe he was deciding if he was going to claim a field or not. He decides not to.
All alone in his own little corner in his own little chair, Chris.
I like that play for Matt.
Yeah, me too.
That helps his monastery. Well, it doesn't help his monastery, but it helps his little city. Again, you want to complete those small 3 to 4 tile cities. That's about as big as you want to hope for. Otherwise, I think it gets a bit too risky.
Yeah. Any larger than that, I feel like only ever happens by accident and not by design.
And especially when you've got 5 players around the table. Either they're going to be in on it, or they're going to stop you in your tracks.
They will have an active incentive to block you.
As we saw Ryan place that tile up top near the beginning with that road.
I'm very surprised that there are not more people going on in these fields, but the fields are so large, it's hard to get into some of the better ones.
But here we see a move, I believe, by Ryan to get back in on Mega City.
I do not like that. Well, there are so few turns left.
Maybe
some of these players might just have to go in on Mega City.
And that's the thing. If he gets in, or if Green is able to connect, you've now lost all those singular points. And so even just the 1 incomplete points are now things that people are banking on.
Even just the cost of these meeples being tied up in the city, not anywhere else on the board, making you points, it's a commitment.
It's true.
Most of these meeples will never and have never had an opportunity to earn any other points than the city points here.
I think that's the right call by Matt, though. There are a couple tiles out there that can complete it. Maybe he's done the count. There's at least 3.
I would be very impressed if he has done the count. These players are moving so quickly here. Rebecca's turn.
Johannes building off of that, his own city, giving himself some sort of point.
We're having new Mega City form in the south here, and I don't think that's a wise play.
Again, I'm really surprised. Oh no, he couldn't have put it up here. He couldn't have put it into Mega City because it has that road attached to it. We see Rebecca going up north, claiming another road, trying to get some of those points. That is currently the largest open road that's out there. It makes sense for Rebecca to grab it.
Yeah. I still do not like the southern city play by Johannes. I might have just grabbed that road for a couple points. get something in the bag.
And we see Mike do exactly what you said. Claim those little points, and lay another person down in the field.
I love this play. This will get him into the big blue field if he's lucky. And I think it will, because Rebecca is incentivized to finish her monastery. That will bring
That's true.
Mike into the field.
And then he and Rebecca can share those points, which is very important. Because currently that field is scoring 9 points.
Very safe play. Love the safe play. Usually when I'm playing games, I'm swinging from the fences, Chris. But here, watching
That's true.
this
You're a
high
wild card.
Watching these high-level players, though, I want to see the safe play. I want to see them play smart and safe.
I know you'd be all in on Mega City.
I would. And I would regret it. Just like I think some of the players here will do. Or are doing.
I like that Matt has been the one who's slowing down this tempo of the game, and I think that's an important call for him.
Mm-hmm. I think also, whether the other players realize it or not, it's helping them. I'm noticing anyone who's going after him tends to have a pretty decent placement. I think that they're just getting a little bit more time. There is no clock. This is not speed chess. Really agonizing over this decision. We are trying to keep up. We were just complimenting them on slowing down, but apparently not slow enough. Trying to figure out what tile was just placed there. There's a little bit too much glare on our recording.
So a quick retroactive edit here. You'll see that this has been shifted down. Again, we're working off of, a camera that was bumped to try to make sure we bring you all the Carcassonne finale. The only change here is that Matt did claim this and make his move to get in on Mega City, and that has now forced Yellow to make his move to get in on Mega City. This city, again, growing out of control, and now we see Matt going off in the direction that we thought he was when a little bit ago.
Mm-hmm. Ready to return to the
I'm ready to return
footage,
to the game footage and see what's going to happen and see how these players are going to involve this, and if this Mega City will ever get completed, because at this point, there's no chance.
It is confusing me so much, even just to look at it. We're getting confused in the studio. We have a tile coming up top.
And a
what that is?
rethinking.
Yeah, they've thought better of that. Be very surprised if Rebecca goes in the top right. She has been mostly working in the bottom left. Oh, this isn't Rebecca.
This is Ryan. Just extending a road. I think deciding if he wants to place this meeple on it.
I would do so, I think.
It doesn't look like he did. Wants to keep those meeples for more important measures. Again, cutting off the avenues here of other people to get into the city. I think that's the reason for that placement.
There's so little game left. I would take what points I could. But maybe he doesn't think he'll be able to cap the road.
I think that's it. Or if you get another road down the line, you can always add to it. But somebody else might first as well. We were praising Matt. That was his pausing over here, deciding if he was going to try to get in on this city. Again, Matt's not in this city as it stands. Matt has desire to build in here, but he can't now unless this is built. And then currently, Yellow maintaining a firm control over the best placement in Mega City.
In order for Mega City to finish construction, I think at least 4 tiles need to be placed. That is a huge commitment, especially this late in the game.
Green just makes a calm, nice placement, placing his last meeple and picking it right back up again and taking those 2 points.
Love that play.
It's just, you can see if these players had decided to cooperate and not fought over Mega City. Now they've both managed to get 2 meeples in there. They've all just expended their energy so much. And to what end? It has not benefited any of them in the slightest and has only put Mike and Rebecca forward. I think this is between Mike and Rebecca at this point, just because of how much the other 3 players have torn each other down.
That initial greed from Johannes trying to get 2 meeples into the city, I don't like that play. It has really changed the entire shape of this game.
It's forced everyone to react in a certain way, and has just left the door wide open for Rebecca and Mike to keep doing their own thing and picking up those points. And that's exactly what they've been doing.
Didn't quite catch that. What are they talking about, Chris?
I think we can hear a judge from another table just commentating on an unrelated matter. Just enjoying life and enjoying the convention. And we see Rebecca really thinking here, and I like to see this thought. I like to see her puzzling out the board. She is not trapped. She might be a little bit trapped in the bottom right corner, and she extends to that with that one and decides to place and claim that other city as well. She was really agonizing over that. I guess she feels if she can't complete the other one, if it's dead.
I would probably not have gone for the city here. I probably would have gone for the road. Just because there's 4 other players fighting over city tiles, I would have no guarantee.
And speaking of that road, Mike makes a key play and connects his 2 farmers. Now he and Rebecca share that field, and that is huge if it is down to the 2 of them because of Mega City monopolizing the resources of everyone else.
Johanna's probably enjoying that road play by Mike. That gives him some hope for finishing that monastery.
And Mike had to do it. He needed to get in on those fields, or else he could kiss his chances goodbye. Again, Matt slowing the tempo down, which I like to see, making a choice.
I think that's a little bit of a symptom of some poor choices earlier in the game from Matt, though. He's really got to try to turn those choices into something valuable in this late end of the game. I really hope he is able to turn this around. He's got a lot of potential points.
He's got the giant 4-sided city tile. It's the only one in the game. He's flirting with playing it up top. You see him inching towards Yellow's city. This is giving 2 points to Yellow, but it makes that city basically impossible to complete.
Yeah.
Why he wouldn't put it down in the bottom right corner with Rebecca, I don't know.
Yeah, Mega City 2 down here might be the place to go.
Or if he's trying to hinder somebody, you should hinder the people who are soaring ahead and, again, don't have their resources tied up in Mega City. But a solid blocking play by Matt. Now over to Ryan.
Yeah, there's not much else you can do with that tile this late in the game other than block.
Trying to respond, and also that would have been a good spot for Ryan to complete and get those 8 points.
Board has frozen here. Everybody's trying to puzzle. There's only maybe another 15 tiles to place, I'm guessing.
We see Ryan trying to now finish Mega City. It's going to take a lot of teamwork for that to happen.
Mega City is such a waste of taxpayer dollars. I don't think this is a good play.
I don't know, though. That's a great spot by Ryan. If they can get 3 tiles, they basically make sure Rebecca and Mike do not win the game. Together, all they need is 3 tiles, and they can guarantee themselves third. At least third. I would be pitching this to everyone around the table.
Yeah. I'm very surprised there is not a lot of table talk. You'd think there'd be a little bit more wheeling and dealing.
And we see Johannes connect in with Matt, making another Mega City down below.
Mega City 2 is coming to shape, and it's looking
Johannes
maybe larger.
could have used that tile to stop, to complete Mega City up here and help towards this completion, but he has chosen not to.
Right now, that city is balanced between the 3 players.
And we see Rebecca go for another field play. This feels like a sort of dangerous field play, but not really. If she's able to complete the other corner around here, she then can take the field away from Mike and get 3 of her members in that field, and that's exactly what her game plan is.
I like that a lot. It also reduces the number of options for finishing Mega City 2 down here. If if they have a city tile with a road, they will not be able to place it in that spot.
That's true. It's a really smart play by Rebecca.
Yeah, just punishing the players who keep overextending on cities. I like this.
We see Mike surveying the board. I bet Mike wanted to go down there too. He and Rebecca expending their resources almost, fighting over the fields. Versus the mega city. I guess we'll see. They've each committed about the same number of meeples and resources, but the difference is when you're going for the fields, you can also be completing things along the way and getting points in that way.
Unless I've done my math wrong, Mike has 1 meeple left. Rebecca doesn't have any, though. All of hers are on the board.
That's true.
So
she
her
really
job
needs
will be to block.
and complete either her monastery or that road up top, or hopefully find a tile that can complete that little city of hers.
I think that's an ambitious ask, if you ask me. Oh. Here we have... Yeah, more city tiles being thrown away, denied to either of the megacities.
That's surprising to me that Ryan didn't either. If he was just going to throw that away, why didn't he build that upon his own city up top?
Yeah. Just on the off chance that it would become
Well,
valuable.
it's still worth a point or two, depending if it has a shield or not.
Someone tossed that on that corner over there. Complete the road. So, yeah, that would be 4.
We have the road down here being completed.
Comes back.
And Johannes does Rebecca's job for her, getting her into that city.
He does score the road, though.
He scores 4 points, which...
I mean, gets him on the board, which
Yeah.
is more than he has accomplished so far. That's his first 4 points, I believe. But yeah, now Rebecca is quite dominant in the fields.
Mike has got to hate to see that.
Yeah.
You can see he looks frustrated.
Yeah. There's so many options are closing with every place of the tiles. Not only are fewer and fewer tiles in the bag, but also just more and more specific tiles are needed to complete any of these objectives, these roads, these cities. And it becomes more and more of a risk to place a field.
9 to 11.
And we see a small, quick placement by yellow, getting those 2 points.
These small little point grabs are what they should have been doing from the beginning, I think, Chris. They all add up.
I tend to agree with you, Zach.
Oh, that'll finish some monasteries.
There it is. Johannes wanting his green back, but he also sends the blue back to Rebecca, now giving her new life in this game.
Rebecca was doomed to just block until one of her meeples came back, but now she is able to try to score some more points here.
Johannes helping Rebecca with both of his moves. And now Rebecca has a decision. She can potentially get in on something. That open castle on the left maybe looks tasty.
Which castle are you talking about, Chris?
Over here. It's separated from itself, but Rebecca will really want to close her other ones as well.
Yeah.
And she does exactly that, putting, well, not quite closing, but putting a tile in there to help her out. It's a tough play because here in the studio it doesn't look like there's actually a road on there from our recreation. So she's basically denying herself that other meeple and just letting it stay there for the 1 point. But
Yeah, I think
she
we're-
wants to give herself points and not commit like Mike is doing right now. Mike getting in on that city that was left open. Mike making a very solid play. I think with his last meeple, though, I think that's probably what Rebecca was trying to avoid. I really think this is going to come down to Mike and Rebecca. Unless those 3 tiles can be placed, we might see Mega City actually be completed, in which case we will have to eat our words. It is close. There are 3 tiles, and there are 3 of them. If they can just agree to work together and pull the tiles that they need, that's the key issue.
It is a crab in the bucket situation. Will the other crabs pull you down?
And we see now Matt extending his own little city.
Time and time again, we're seeing these castle pieces not being committed to the cities that are going to score the most points.
But that was a good one for Matt. That's his only city on the board. That's giving him points. And we see a big play to complete Mega City.
Ooh,
Ryan pulling in a big tile, saying, listen, I got my 2 meeples in here. I'll get all these points. And we see another play happening right after Johannes connecting his 2 in. Now they only need 1 tile left to complete Mega City.
I'm going to take back what I said, Chris. I'm getting excited about Mega City.
But here's the thing, Zach. If you've been counting the tiles...
I haven't. I have not been counting the tiles, Chris.
You will know that there is no tile out there that can complete Mega City.
No way.
It is completely gone.
Oh, no.
There are only a certain number of those tiles in the game, and they have been all used. And I wonder if our players even have noticed this or not.
I'm glad you pointed that out. I was about to buy some real estate in Mega City 1, Chris.
And that's the problem, because you needed 2 of these specific pieces to finish it. Again, with that block early on by Ryan, who now has an invested interest in completing Mega City. This piece here caused a piece over here to not be placed, and then that one could have been determined here and finished the whole thing.
I don't think they've noticed, Chris. I don't see anyone as heartbroken as I am on this screen.
The ramifications of those early plays really coming into pass, and you see what infighting gets you, just like Thanksgiving at my house.
I think Matt might have just realized he just threw his hands in the air.
Maybe they're doing that count now.
Only 8 more tiles, I believe, to go down on the board.
Wow, this is the last. These are the last plays.
Even at this end point, I'm favoring Mike and Rebecca, but Mike and Rebecca, but I could not say who's going to win.
Between the 2? No,
I don't know how
me
it's going
neither.
to shake up. 8 tiles is still a lot of tiles to change this.
But keeping in mind, Rebecca does have that field where Mike does not, and that could very well be the difference. And with Mike only having 1 tile left to play, that basically ensures that he cannot get in.
And these big boondoggle mega cities are stopping anyone from getting in on those fields. They just sort of cut the board in half.
And right now, it's just try to add to your own things and get as many points as you can. And that's what everyone's doing with these last plays. This should be Rebecca's last placement, maybe? I might have missed a tile out there.
I think she placed first, so yes. I think she's only got...
Or it's Johannes' last placement right now. There's 6 tiles left to be played, and then we will score the board and see who is the Carcassonne champion.
It's going to be tough. I really hope Mike finished that monastery of his.
Johannes just claiming a long a road as he can, giving him 4 points with that placement.
It's tough. I'm looking at that monastery of Mike's. If it does get completed, I think it just increased the field score for Rebecca. So we might choose not to do that.
Well, an incomplete monastery is worth basically the same amount. It's worth 1 point per tile that it's touching. So having an incomplete monastery isn't the worst thing in the world. You probably want to maximize your own points as long as that helps you. But if you can add to the monastery, then sure. Which monastery? Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, Rebecca's already in the field, so...
Yeah, I'm just trying to find the little places where a single tile could make a big difference.
Oh, and what a huge play. What a huge pull by Rebecca as the last monastery in the game. That's why she was saving her meeple, and she made the right call not claiming that city on the side.
And as we just spoke about, it's still worth points for every tile neighboring.
But with Mike's last move, he's able to complete this small one and get 10 points. That is a huge play by Mike.
That's very big.
What a tile draw.
Because I had
This,
this, I made it.
at this point, is anyone's game. He's unable to claim that little field because he did not have meeples remaining, but still a solid investment from Mike.
Tiebreak table. Yeah. Nice. I would have won both tiebreaks. Yeah.
Talking about tie breaks here, I don't know if
This
anyone's
was-
tied.
This was their previous round. I think Mike was at a table with a bunch of tie breaks. Matt deciding how he can maximize the most points, and he adds onto his own and claims a field using his last one to just touch this castle here, basically being worth 3 points.
It's not a bad little play.
2 tiles left. We have Ryan and Johannes trying to maximize that final amount of points, and then we will turn to the scoring and find out who is winning, who is going to take this game.
Ryan has a lot of his yellow meeples not on the board. That's got a sting. They're
That's
not
true.
making any points for him.
He could have been placing them in other areas, but has been too conservative, and that might backfire on him.
Mm-hmm.
You want to end the game with 0 meeples,
Every meeple is potential points.
and that's what Rebecca has done. That is what Matt is doing. Mike did that basically, but he pulled back his points from his meeple. We see just a play down here, and Ryan will be claiming this field as well for 3 points. Making 3 points with that play, that does make sense. Although I don't know why he wouldn't have placed it here, because it would have fit there. And he could have scored 4 points with that, but then he would have just added 3 points to somebody else's city. I think that's the reason. This way he gets 3 points, and the swing isn't significant. That's the reason.
4 for green.
And we see a nice play, a nice finishing play,
20.
I love that. Yeah.
giving four green to Johannes.
Good play from Johannes, yeah.
Black in seat 2 has 1 unused meeple. Green in seat 5 has 1 unused meeple. Blue, red, and yellow have 0 unused meeples.
May I take a photo of the board?
Sure.
I have to extend my thanks to that person taking a picture because we've had to refer to it a couple times.
I agree, and our count was actually off with Matt's meeples, and we'll see where the yellow meeples are because they've been hard to pick out in our.
Everybody good? So we'll start with unfinished roads.
I think Matt having a meeple here,
4 for blue goes from 25 to 29.
and we'll refer back to the
1, 2, 3
to the
for
actual
black
screen right now,
goes from 27 to 30.
going live for the scoring because we can see a bit better.
Black has a 3-point road there for 30 to 33. Green has an unfinished road of 4, 20 to 24. I do not see any other roads. Unfinished cities. Blue has a 3-point city over here, 29 to 32. Blue has an unfinished city here for 1, 32 to 33. Cities. Yellow, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points for yellow. Goes from 11 to 16.
And we can see Mega City is not going to be good news for Matt.
Come back to the big city over there. Green and red share this city, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 points for green and red.
These cities yielding a bunch of points, but would have been much better if they were completed.
And green goes from 24 to 32.
I guess I do forget that the cities are still worth something.
Red
Yeah.
has a small unfinished city there for 2 points, 16 to 18. Red has an unfinished city there for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 18 to 23.
23. It looks like Matt's going to be out of it.
Last city is green and yellow. I need to see the tiles. 1, 2,
Not
3,
being able to get in on
4,
Mega
5,
City.
6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13.
13 points for Mega City.
Green is 32 to 45.
45.
13 for
Green
yellow is
doing
16
very
to
well.
29.
Yeah.
We have
Johannes
unfinished Cloister
making a
of 8
really
for
good play
black.
near the second half.
Goes from 33 to 41.
We're going to see how much the fields amount to now.
Unfinished Cloister for red for 8 points. Goes from 20
Oh, they're counting the monasteries, I think, actually.
Unfinished Cloister for blue is 6 points. 33 to 39.
Very close scores around here, but we know Rebecca has that big field.
I missed
Stretches across the whole board.
On a missed city. 41 to 42. So,
This farmer has nothing.
and that farmer has nothing.
These two have nothing.
Okay. This farmer, I believe, has nothing. No.
No, but
This farmer has just that one. No, she goes
no, it
around.
goes around. It pulls out black, green, and yellow.
Now they're pointing out they're seeing
Has 3 guys in there.
The girth of Blue's fields.
So
This is all one big farm.
this is all one big field.
These are all one big farm. That's a separate farm. Yes. So blue on the big farm gets
And this is going to be the difference.
9 points for blue for the farm. Goes 39 to 48.
Only 9 points, though, and committing 3 meeples to that. It's not as powerful as we
Yellow gets
expected.
3. 29 to 32. There is a farm here for yellow with just the one city for 3 points. 32 to 35. And red gets 6 points on that farm. 31 to 37. And I believe that will do it.
that's it. Yep. Congratulations.
And those are the final scores. We
Who's our winner
see
then, Chris?
that Rebecca manages to pull it out with 48 points to
Congratulations.
Green's 45, and Mike coming in third with 42 points. That was a close game. That was a lot closer than I expected with those green points at the end.
Very close. I
counted Johannes out of it for a lot of it, but he only needed one tiny little field to manage to get back in the game.
think I have to go back to Carcassonne School, Chris. I was way too negative on these city folk here. They still racked up quite a few points. It was a close game in the end.
And if you think about it too, think about having the 2 meeple commitment for 13 points in that final city versus the 3 meeple commitment that Rebecca had, you only netting her 9 points with the fields. I was expecting that large field to pan out a lot more, and it very well could have.
Mm-hmm.
But her shutting Mike out of that field, that also makes the difference for Mike not being able to take it.
Yeah.
If Mike was in that, he would have an additional 9 points and would have come out at 51 points to Rebecca's 48. So a really close game.
Love the counterplay.
Really close game happening all around. You see those little decisions that ripple throughout the game and really can affect the game. And that's why I think had they all collaborated,
It would have
again,
been a different game, Chris.
Johannes maybe making that early greedy play. We talk negatively about it, but he still ended up within 3 of the championship. That was close. That was a good game. That was a whirlwind of emotions, Zach. There was a
No
whirlwind
kidding.
here of play. I am astonished by the speed at which this was created, and I'm sure watching it back, some of these players will think, oh, maybe if I'd just taken a little more time and really thought out all the options, or remembered that you couldn't get that last tile.
I'm so glad you pointed that out. I wouldn't have noticed. Yeah, our board game elves in the back could hardly shuffle the tiles fast enough to find what we were looking for.
That's true.
It was quite the game.
But in the end, it is Rebecca Beach who takes home the Carcassonne ring and the title of World Series of Board Game Carcassonne 2022 champion. Congratulations to Rebecca. Thank you so much for watching. Zach, thanks for joining me on this ride.
Anytime at all, I would love to watch great board games played by great players.
That's true. And for all of you, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel and check out all of the other fantastic matches, because they really have been fantastic in terms of being tight games, close scores. Check those all out and stay tuned to World Series of Board Game YouTube channel for all the news on the upcoming 2023 event. And why not purchase your own ticket if you're sitting at the board at this video saying, "Hey, I could have made better plays than that," well, make sure you head to Vegas next September, and I will see you there.
Awesome.
Anyway, from all of us here at World Series of Board Gaming, get in the game.
Get in the game.